What is up, high altitude family? Welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be talking about BTC, what's going on in the markets, the bigger context of what's going on. Before we get started though, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. Also, you guys, I want to know from you what you find the most valuable in these videos. Some people have reached out to me saying it's super useful when you can correctly identify a top. Other people have reached out and said, you know what, I really want to know those big picture buy opportunities. So I want to know what is the most useful thing that I can provide for you guys in these videos. Let me know down in the comment box below. And without further ado, we'll get straight into today's video. So let's talk about the bigger context of what's going on with BTC. Now, as you know, we mainly focus on the bigger picture in this channel anyways, but let's talk a little bit about the bigger context on BTC today and how it applies to what's coming over the next few years. So the first thing I want to mention is just how similar every single BTC correction has been. We have the correction in 2018, we have this mini correction here in 2019, and then we have a pretty large correction very similar to the 2018. So all three of these major corrections on BTC are nearly identical. There's very subtle differences if you zoom into them, but they're very similar in percentage down. They're very similar in structure. So both the 2018 correction and the 2022 correction lasted about 1 year and were extremely similar in percentage down. So the bigger context of the market is very similar to the 2018 crash, which of course led to BTC going to 14,000 and eventually all the way to 69,000. Now, purely for simplicity's sake, I will draw these as ABC corrections. Technically, they are different corrections than ABCs. However, for the beginners that are watching this video, it's actually not wrong to use an ABC correction here. And the reason is because even if it's not technically an ABC correction, if it's a complex correction versus an ABC correction, they both lead to the same result. They both create a reversal in the market. So when it comes to Elliott wave theory, learning more corrections is very useful for various different reasons. But when you're a beginner, it's really important to stick to simplicity, which is why we're sticking to these ABC corrections here today. So like I said, this correction back in 2018 and this correction currently is extremely similar. Now let's talk a little bit about the bigger context of what's going on BTC. So we're going to use Elliott wave theory to map this trend out, just like we mapped those corrections out. And we're going to draw our first wave right here and our second wave down here. So our first wave impulse was actually the 2017 bull run. Our wave 2 was the 2018 correction. And now we're going to go ahead and draw our wave 3 up here and our wave 4 down here. Now the wave 4 does retrace slightly below wave 1, but on the bigger time frames, that is a wick. So this can occur and it's not breaking Elliott wave theory rules. Next, we're waiting for our final fifth wave impulse. Now, historically on BTC, as well as markets like silver, gold, and other major commodities, these markets always have extended fifth waves. So this fifth wave isn't just going to break slightly above our last all-time high at 69,000 and then head into another big correction. But rather, what we have set up here on the big picture is an extended fifth wave. So this fifth wave could take us up to 100,000 and beyond. Now, we're worth $23,000 per BTC right now. So if we get back up to 100,000, you already know that FOMO is going to go completely out the roof and BTC will recover well beyond 100,000 per coin and shoot significantly beyond that point. So that is what is going to create that extended fifth wave, is all the FOMO in the market. market, we do have the volume for it as well. We can circle the volume down here and compare it to the volume that was required to take us to 69,000, and you can see that we have a significant increase in demand. Volume always precedes price, so you can see that a large volume spike preceded the run up to 69,000. That is exactly what we're seeing right now, is volume preceding price. So the bigger context of what's going on BTC is that we went through a standard correction, just like wave 2, only this one is our 4 wave, and we're preparing for another bullish impulse wave, just like we saw in 2017 and like we saw in 2021. Now, this has me pretty hyped and excited about the future of the crypto space as a whole, and it should get you guys pretty excited too, because there's a lot of opportunity in this market to really change your life financially. And like I said, you guys, 100,000 per coin is what I've been talking about on this channel for years now, when we were down at 3,000 per coin actually, and then we went all the way to 69,000, and I still 100% expect Bitcoin to not only go to 100,000 per coin, but actually shoot significantly beyond that level in an extended 5th wave on this market. So the reason why BTC is doing this is because we've had a 100-year bull market in stocks. And BTC came out around 2009 at the very bottom of the housing market crash. And then we saw the entire economy recover. And of course, BTC has been the best performing asset in the entire world, in fact, in human history since that point. So because of a 100-year bull market in the stock market, that is one of the reasons why we have such a big opportunity to make money in the crypto space. If you take a second to imagine just how much FOMO there would be after 100 years of bull market, that begins to help you understand and realize why stuff like BTC has been performing so much in percentage gain, and why we've had so much opportunity to make money in multiple different industries across the board. It's really because we're witnessing the FOMO of a 100-year bull market. Now, that FOMO is going to continue on until there's no more juice left. If we look at the S&P 500 right now, we do have a bullish flag pattern, which suggests that we could head into another 8 to 7 year bull market before 2029. The way that the world markets work is there's pretty much a recession every 8 to 10 years, like clockwork, and a depression every 100 years. And so what I actually see happening here in the stock market is another major move up before we can have another recession or potentially even a depression, because it's been 100 years since 1929. You can also see how the S&P 500 had a lot of volume before we broke out into this bull market. This goes to show that volume does indeed precede price, just like it's doing on BTC right now. And if you don't believe me that the S&P 500 can do this, just take a look at what happened to BTC when it crashed from about $10,000 down to just around $9,000. That is what happened right before BTC went all the way up to $20,000 for the first time ever. So this correction that happened on BTC is very similar to the correction that just happened right now on the S&P 500. You can also see that the previous psychology was very similar as well. As the market started to build momentum, we had these sell-offs occur. And of course, we had the midway cool-off right here that happened on BTC as well. So I believe we're headed into what's called a blow-off top on the stock market. In other words, we could run up for another 7 years until 2029 before we head into a large correction. And you can see that the market structure is pretty much identical here on the S&P 500 compared to the 2017 bull run on BTC. And it is extremely useful to compare cycles together. In fact, if you ask any good Wall Street investor, they're going to teach you how to do this and show you how effective this type of strategy really is. So that means that we are headed into a repeat of the roaring 20s. In fact, pretty much in every single way. The only difference is now we all have access to computers and cell phones, and we can invest a whole lot easier than it was in the Roaring 20s to invest. So I believe this Roaring 20s is not only going to be lucrative, but larger than the one that happened from 1920 until 1929. And the crypto markets are not going to be left behind in this climb. In fact, they are probably going to be leading this climb as far as percentage gain goes, and as well as being the developing industry that's actually carrying the whole market up. Now, as I said before, it's extremely useful to compare cycles together. And we have Apple computers here on the right in 2009, when a lot of people would have been panic selling their Apple stock because of the housing market crash. Now we have BTC over here on the left, and you can clearly see the similarity between these two corrections. In fact, they're pretty much identical in every single sense. The difference being that we made a higher high in wave B here on BTC, where we made a slightly lower high on wave B with Apple computers. So that's why we identify BTC as an expanded flat, expanded meaning that B wave exceeds the peak, and why we identify Apple computers as a zigzag correction, or in other words, that B wave did not exceed the peak. These corrections, however, are only slightly different, and they result in the same pattern coming afterwards, which is a recovery in the market. Now, I've talked a little bit in my previous videos how BTC could correct back down in the short term, and I still believe that's possible. If we look at Apple here, what happened after that C wave was completed, it started to break out of a falling wedge actually, and had to come back down onto support before it pushed higher. And there's actually a little inverse head and shoulders pattern that formed as a result of that. So it had a falling wedge, it broke out, but it also made an inverse head and shoulders pattern as a result of that breakout. Now, if we look at BTC as well, we can see that there's a falling wedge pattern, just like Apple computers in 2009. We even have a left shoulder right here. We have a head potentially. And if price pulls back like it did on Apple, which I suspect it will at least in the short term, then we could get our right shoulder here in place before price can do a full recovery. Now that recovery could take up to a year before BTC is back up to 69,000. But as I said before, as part of a larger context of the world markets moving up until 2029, a one-year recovery could mean that our bull market that's coming in the crypto space is going to last multiple years as we head into a bull market in the stock market until 2029. Now, for you guys that have been watching my channel for a while, you know that this has been my thesis for quite some time now, and that nothing has really changed. In fact, as time has progressed, we've only seen the market behave more like I'm expecting it to in preparation for what is coming in the crypto space as well as the world markets. So there's big things coming in the crypto space as well as the stock market. And for the people that have eyes to see and ears to hear, the opportunity truly is very large inside of this market right now to really change your life investing in this space. So apply for the mastermind program down below to really take investing into your own hands. Join a community of people that tunes in to live sessions with me every single Saturday and learn how to invest hands-on in Zoom calls with me and our other team members to really accelerate your learning process and your profits in this market. So in conclusion, I do see a very large recovery not only in the crypto space, but in the stock market as well. And I believe the name of the game is adding on to your positions, holding on in preparation for what is coming. Also, you guys, this is not financial advice. This is my trading journal, as you know, but that is my personal views on the market. So thank you so much for tuning in to today's video. I love and appreciate every single one of you. If you enjoyed this video, please take a minute to share it with your friends and hit that like button for me. If you want to see more content like this, subscribe to the channel, and I look forward to seeing you in future videos. As always, Stay profitable out there.